Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient, and I'm doing really well. Just every day is a tremendous blessing, and doing better every day. We have phenomenal weather here in Southern California. It's for the last, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so. It's been in the low 70s to mid 70s, and it's been really, really nice. And so took a nice walk outside in the hills, and it was just really, really fantastic. And so I'm really excited here today to be able to share this interview with a gentleman named Dane McCormack, who's all the way across on the other side of the world in a foreign land they call Down Under. And so I'd like to introduce Dane McCormack at this time. Dane, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be on board. I'm Dane McCormack, 47 years old. Had the most amazing childhood growing up down in Tasmania in Australia. But I escaped to the mainland to pursue my career, as many Tasmanians do, and it led me to work for several of the world's biggest companies. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2018, T-cell lymphoma. I then spent 12 months in hospital where I was given 24 hours to live several times. Lost the toes off my right foot, 20 centimeters of my bowel, my long and short-term memories, my sense of smell, my sense of taste, but not my sense of humor. Phew. Because laughter really is the best medicine.
It was so important for me to have you on an interview on my channel. I mean, you have a beautiful, beautiful attitude, and you're such a nice person, and I'm honored to have you here, and I look forward to this interview, Dane.
I'm just as honored to be here, Mark. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And so we're going to do a little bit different format than I've done on an interview. And what we're going to do is I have a list of questions, and what we're going to do is I'm going to first ask Dane these questions, and then I'm going to answer these questions as well. So because we want to get a little bit of perspective from his part of the world and my part of the world as well. So are you ready to get going, Dane?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go with the first question. How many years ago were you diagnosed with cancer? You already mentioned that, but let's talk a little bit about what type of cancer that you have as well.
Yeah, 4 years ago, T-cell lymphoma. Don't actually remember being diagnosed. Or, I lost my long-term memories, so I don't remember contracting cancer, being diagnosed, chemotherapy or the stem cell transplant. I don't remember my first admission in hospital where they cut off my toes and removed my bowel. I don't remember being released.
So what is the reason for you not being able to remember?
It was an acquired brain injury that occurred when bacteria from a surgical wound infiltrated my brain. Actually killed a big chunk of it. Mainly memory. Luckily, the analytical part of my brain's largely intact.
Wow, that's wild. Some of these questions I'm not going to answer because I just did an interview with myself and I answered these. So let's move on to this next question. Okay. Prior to cancer, what were your thoughts about cancer?
I hadn't thought too much about it, to be honest. Yeah, it's something that affects a lot of people. Took a couple of people I knew, but not too many, and I hadn't really thought about it too much at all.
But what was your perception of cancer itself? So you knew a couple of people that had cancer. Did you think that they were going to die, or what was your perception of cancer?
Yeah, well, that takes a lot of people, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a bad disease to have, for sure.
Okay.
And it kills a lot of people.
Okay. In my case, I'm going to answer this question. Prior to cancer, my thoughts about cancer were just pretty much what society has taught us. society has taught us that it's, you know, when someone says they have cancer, it's right away you think it's a death sentence. But
Yeah,
I think through all the things that we've been through, we realize now that
we're
that
still
that
here.
doesn't that doesn't have to be the case.
Yep,
and and so I think it's like with, you know, what we're doing is we're connecting your end of the world, my end of the world, and hopefully everything in between, and help
absolutely.
people to realize that it doesn't have to be a death sentence unless you let it be.
Correct.
All right, awesome. So where was your cancer originally? Where did it originally start, or do you know?
In the lymph nodes, in the groin, I think it was. The lymph nodes in the groin. Or it could have been in the chest, the neck, I can't remember.
Okay. And so obviously it metastasized and it traveled to different parts. What other parts did it travel to in your body?
No, it's mainly in the lymph system, which is all through the body. So yeah, it's affected all the nerves around me, all the different nerves in the body, basically.
So did you feel it, or what was it that triggered you to go into your doctor to get it checked out, or do you remember that?
Well, I can't remember, but I've been told I got really itchy and sensitive to the noise and light and heat and all sorts of things. Yeah, it messed with the nerves mainly.
Okay. All right. Um, so do you recall, or even today, did you have to deal with pain at all? And if so, what did you do about it?
Um, Not sure. Not sure. No. It was mainly itchiness and other things. So it's not pain as such. It's just annoying. I think more than anything.
Do you have pain now at all from cancer?
Oh, oh yeah. Well, not from the cancer, but yeah, they chopped the toes off my right foot and it caused nerve damage on the soles of both feet. So yeah, it's
Wow.
painful to. Yeah,
Wow. Do you
having
need,
acquired brain injury gives you not really headaches, but it gives you fuzzy heads and things. And yeah, the key to that's to get out and walk. But of course, the walking on the nerve prone feet feels so good, but it hurts so bad.
so are you able to walk on your own?
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm lucky in that regard. I'm taking some Lyrica for that, and yeah, you just got to walk through it. Basically, it's not too bad.
Okay.
My thresholds are like that now.
Do you exercise at all? You
I walk
take walks
twice
and
a day,
things like that?
yeah, 2 or 3 times because it clears the head. So it's a key. It's a key thing for getting the head clear, and the head severe causes severe mental fatigue, and yeah, can't think properly and things like that. So you got to get out. Yeah.
So have you dealt at all with CBD or cannabis, or is that legal or illegal in Australia?
Talked about it. It is medically legal. Yeah.
Have you tried it?
Haven't tried it yet, no.
Okay. All right. Um, I'm going to answer this question. Do I deal with pain at all? And um, it's funny. I've been told that I have an extremely high tolerance of pain. Um, I'm to the
Prepares you
point
for
where I don't know the difference. It's just
yeah.
something that I've come to accept. But
Yep.
that being said, I do use CBD every day, and I also use cannabis at night. I use CBD in the morning and CBD in the evening. I've talked about that in the past, but that's been just phenomenal because of the fact that it's natural, and it really does the job. And the thing about that people have to understand is they have to overcome the perception of cannabis or marijuana, and
It's a medicine.
understand what its benefits are, and
If you
also
overuse it, it's a drug, but if you use it medically, it's not.
right. And so what people need to do is they need to find the dosage that works for them
Yep.
in
And
their
it's going to be
particular.
different for every person, every single person.
Right, exactly. And that's the crazy thing about it, right?
Yeah.
But
They're all on
yeah,
similar, but we're totally different, aren't they? They're totally different journeys all at the same time.
right. I think the only time I used prescription medication was when I was in the hospital, and they wouldn't allow me to bring in my CBD and cannabis.
Yeah.
And the bad thing about prescription medication is it's very addictive and it doesn't last. It only, every time I took it, it lasted for exactly 4 hours on the nose. And then after that, you're like, okay, what now?
You depended on the drugs, yeah.
Yes. And that's a bad thing. When I was in the hospital, I would take the prescription med probably about 9 o'clock. And at 1 o'clock, it would wear off. And what they would do every day on the hour, 1 o'clock in the morning, they'd wake me up and they'd take my blood pressure and they'd take a chest x-ray. And then come about 5 o'clock in the morning, they would take another blood pressure test. And it's not a fun way to wake up, believe me.
Nope. You got to keep asking the questions to get to the root cause of the problem, rather than just masking it with the medication. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what did you go through chemotherapy and radiation?
I did, and a stem cell transplant as well. Yeah, but I don't have a single memory of doing that. Not a
Oh,
single
okay.
memory.
So you don't, do you know how many rounds of chemotherapy and or radiation that you had?
About half a dozen, I think.
Okay. Okay. Um, my thoughts on chemotherapy and radiation, prior to having it, I had no idea what it was. I mean, I thought, and this was my thought, I thought chemotherapy was you went in a room and they shine like some magic, radiation thing on you, and then you stay in
Yeah,
there for a while and you're done. I
you're
had no
done. Yeah,
idea that you had to be in a place for an hour plus, getting an IV and yeah, I had no idea. I also didn't know how many different types of chemotherapy there are. There are probably 30 or 40 different types. And
and they
so
all affect you differently.
exactly. And so it's very important, if a person has to go through chemotherapy, that they um, find out, number one, what type of chemotherapy that they're being prescribed. And it's real important that you look it up and look up the description,
And the side
because
effects, and yeah.
exactly, because in the description, some chemotherapy say you could die from this. You don't want any of those.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing about it is having to deal with the side effects and understanding it. I was fortunate, when I was prescribed chemotherapy, that it was a milder one, um, and it had been around for quite some time, and so they had a lot of experience with that one, and so it for me it worked out well.
Yeah, I
And
mean, not so much. So I thought the treatment was worse than the disease, to be honest. It's caused so many different side effects, and yeah, affected me in so many different ways. Yeah.
how did it affect you?
Well, that was the toes were cut off and the bowel was removed and the acquired brain injury and all of those. Yeah.
Were
12 months in
you
hospital.
were you real sick from the chemotherapy?
Can't remember. I assume so, yes. I've been told I was.
Oh, okay. Did you lose your hair from it?
I never had hair.
Oh,
The
okay.
real irony, I didn't lose it. I always used to shave it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I the way it affected me was kind of weird. Was like, I just kept losing patches. So I never lost all my hair, but it was just so, it's not a haircut that you would want because it was like these big chunks of hair would come out. So during
You'd have
that
been better off
time,
losing it all.
I always wore a hat. And so like
Yeah.
on earlier videos, you always see me in a hat because my hair was just like, it had patches here, no hair here, and it was not a good look, not a good look at all. Okay, let's talk about something that I really want to hear about. How is the medical system in your part of the world? How does it work? What do you think of it? How could they improve it?
Well, that's a big question you got there, Mark. um, as I said, I was in hospital for 12 months, so I don't remember most of that. But yeah, the problem is that the body interacts in so many different ways, and you've got the specialists who specialize in one area, but they don't look at the whole body and how it's all interacting. And there's no overall specialist looking at that, is there? So they're looking at their parts of the body and treating those, but not the whole body. And yeah, I had a 5-hour wait to get into an eye specialist there one day as well in the hospital with an acquired brain injury. I can assure you that was not comfortable at all.
Wow. So as far as the medical system itself in Australia, is it like, for instance, here in the United States, it's very crowded and there are so many people.
That's the 5-hour wait right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you had 6 months to get into a specialist and all of the above. Yeah.
Sounds just like here. It's
Yep.
and also too, the question that I have is how can a doctor here in the United States, doctors have 15 minutes to deal with the patient? Is that about the same over there?
Yep.
So how in the world
It's
when
not the
you're
doctor's
fighting,
fault.
how in the
Yeah.
world when you're fighting for your life,
Mm.
how are these doctors supposed to treat you effectively in 15 minutes?
They do the best they can. They do the best they can, and they could do a lot more if they had more time.
That's right. That's right. So that being said, doesn't it make sense that the rest is up to us as the patient?
Oh yeah, for sure. You need to stay on top of it and ask the right questions and look into the symptoms and get the right tests done and everything. Yeah, yeah. It's as much in your own hands as it is in the doctors. You get their advice and make sure you're on top of it yourself.
So do you feel that okay, here in the United States, we're taught from a young age that the doctor, you listen to your doctor and whatever the doctor says you need to do. What is your thought on that?
It pays to second guess them. They're the experts, so you give them some respect, right? But it does pay to second guess them as well, for sure. And it depends which one doctor you talk to, isn't it? Other doctors have different opinions and different treatment regimes, and yeah, it's the
That's
same everywhere in life, though. No
isn't
profession
that
is different.
isn't that incredible?
Yeah,
I mean, we're on totally different parts of the world, thousands of miles apart, and yet it's the same
we're
same
still human.
situation.
We're
That
still human.
that is incredible, don't you think?
Oh, yes and no. We came from the British, didn't we? We all were colonized by the British.
I don't want to go back that far. um, so you were in the hospital for a year. That is an unbelievable amount of time.
Yeah.
So how I was in the hospital for a week, and that was a week too long as far as I was concerned. I mean, I didn't like the way it felt. And so I was, I know that when I left, they were glad to get rid of me. So how
Mm.
did you have no recollection at all of your time in the hospital, or what what do you recollect about
I
that
don't have
time?
I don't have any memories of my first admission at all, not a single one.
Wow.
And my first memory is walking into the hospital for my second admission and looking down and asking the nurse and my wife what had happened to my toes because I'd cut them off in the first one. Yeah.
Wow.
And even in the second admission, my memories are kind of fuzzy initially. And yeah,
So did
don't.
they cut off all the toes from one foot, or what exactly happened?
Oh, the medication I was on stripped all the. I was having heart blood pressure issues, so they stripped the blood out of my extremities to save my life, basically. But the toes went gangrenous, and they had to cut the toes at the tops of just on the right foot.
Wow. Of
Yeah,
how many toes?
all of them. Don't have to chop my toenails anymore, though.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So
Hmm.
even they cut off your big toe as well?
A bit of it, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yep,
So do you have pain from that still?
yeah, a little bit. The nerve damage on the soles is worse, but yeah, it affects balance as well. But they helped me recover that, which was good. The rehabilitation side of the hospital was really, really good, rehabilitating me back into life after the tour, after being in hospital. Yeah,
You know, I want to say this much about you have an incredible attitude. I mean, your attitude
yeah,
is just fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it. That's why I had to have you on an interview, because people need to see, all the things that you've been through, and yet you still have a beautiful smile, and you're such a wonderful human being. And I commend you for that. Absolutely. I love that.
thank you, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing, that for sharing yourself with us, because that
Yeah,
is amazing. And I really, really am honored. So you're a man of faith. And how has faith influenced your journey uh, with what you've dealt with?
that's an interesting question. Yeah, it's yeah, Catholic upbringing and believing in God and all those things. Yeah, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey through that.
So has your faith gotten stronger with as a result of your journey, or
Yes, it has. I drifted away from the religion through my life, and yeah, it's bringing me back in for sure. Someone's looking
that
after me.
I feel the same way. Absolutely. My faith has gotten so much stronger, because you realize that I in my case anyway, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah,
And if I wasn't didn't so uh have the conviction to live, and you know and I've just been so fortunate and so blessed to still be here, and
absolutely.
I
Never take it for granted again.
oh yes. Yes, absolutely. So how has your family helped you in your journey,
Enormously. Yeah, everyone around me has just been so good.
and
It's
who are
incredible
they?
caring that I've survived. Yeah, that was my wife and my in-laws and my mother and sister and brother and all of them. Yeah, the whole
what
network.
what did they do?
They just helped me out. They were there in hospital with me, and my sister slept in the bed on the chair beside me, holding my hand one night because I needed it. Yeah,
Wow, that is beautiful. That is so awesome. It
absolutely.
really hurts me to hear people who are going through cancer who have nobody. And so it's such a
Yeah,
wonderful blessing when we do
Well,
have
yep,
family.
couldn't agree more.
And you also have a son as well.
9-year-old boy, yeah, absolutely. He did remarkably well through it. Remarkably well.
Can you explain that?
Well, my father unfortunately contracted it and died of cancer while I was in hospital with cancer. So his pops just died of cancer, but his dad, who's also in hospital with cancer, is going to be okay. Can you even imagine what it would have been like for him? And yeah, he's
Wow.
been so understanding. And even these days, how are you feeling, Dad? When we play a game? I know you're not feeling well. You rest and we'll come back later. Yeah, he's
Wow.
good.
That so was what has been your driving force in your life to keep moving forward?
Not really sure.
Has it been your family uh or what has it there's got to be a reason why we're still here and why we keep pushing forward through all of these adversities.
It's just what I do. It's the mindset, I guess. Yeah. And the family helped develop that mindset, right? So yeah, there you go.
Did you get that from your parents?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They were very influential in my life in so many different ways.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. That is fantastic. And
I got lucky.
I think we both are. I think we both had the same thing. So that's fantastic. What are you doing to advocate for cancer?
Well, a couple of different things. Not cancer specifically, but so my cancer journey reawakened my love of writing. So because I'd lost my long-term memories, I set off on a mighty quest to find them and wrote my autobiography. And yeah, it allowed me to do some deep thinking about all sorts of things. And I'm writing articles for people going through similar tough times on how I dealt with it and the things that I did to help and those kind of things. Yeah. And I'm
Is
also,
there somewhere where people could find you?
I
Some
have an
social
author page.
media sites? Can you
Yep.
share
I'll
that with us?
share that with you, Mark, and we can put that in the comments and people can find it. Absolutely.
Can you share that now?
I'll send it to you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
And I'm
Uh,
also a brain injury support group in Canberra. So brain injuries are on top of the cancer. It's easily the worst part of my cancer journey. It's so difficult to understand and deal with and everything. And yeah, I started searching for a brain injury support group in Canberra, and there wasn't one. So starting to work with Synapse to establish one, which is good.
fantastic. That is fantastic. I love that. So what are your thoughts on diet?
On diet, that's an interesting one in itself. I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste. But I still enjoy food because it's not how it tastes, but it's how it makes me feel. But
So what
also,
kind of food do you eat?
I'd lost because they took out part of my bowel. I can't eat meat and seafood anymore because it's too chewy and it regurgitates. So I've got onto a vegetarian diet and I have to chew more thoroughly. But that's better for you, isn't it? So yeah,
So
I
what are
now
your
choose carrot over a chocolate bar because I can't taste it anymore. But
what
carrot makes
what are
me
your what are your favorite vegetables?
doesn't matter anymore because I can't taste them. But cauliflower is the one actually. There must be something. There must be a mineral or something in cauliflower that I really need because it really agrees with me. Yeah, it feels really good to eat.
Wow, that's great. Do you eat it
Yeah.
raw or do you eat it cooked?
Oh, either or doesn't matter anymore.
Well, that being said, what about broccoli?
Same. It's really good for you, so I enjoy it.
Good, good. Wow, that's fantastic. So, what are your final thoughts that you would like to leave for people here in the U.S. and all over the world? What are your final thoughts about all of this?
The key for me was my writing. I explored what I was going through and how I was going through it, and it helped me understand it better, which helped me deal with it much easier. And yeah, it was really rewarding. I'd recommend it to everyone. Everyone's got a good story to tell. I'd never sat back and looked at my life previously. Just never
Oh,
done it.
you
You
have
just
a
forward,
fantastic
go, go,
story.
go, go. Yeah, it was really good to sit back and reconnect with people and places and ideas and things. Yeah.
Wow. So what has your experience been? And I'm going to throw out one last question to you. What has your experience been with people that you've met through the cancer community?
Really good because we're going through a similar thing and we're all different, but we've got similar journeys, don't we? So it's really, and the same, that's why I started the brain injury support group, is just to get people together who are going through similar things, and it helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dane, thank you so much for your time, for brightening up this part of the world with your beautiful attitude. I am
Thank you.
so honored. And I'd like to thank everyone here for joining us at To Be Your Own Hero. And let's, since you're on the other part of the world, uh, let's let's work together to help make this world better.
Absolutely.
And even if it's something small, by saying hello to somebody and wishing them a great day, or
It
uh,
all helps.
absolutely,
The small
absolutely.
glimpses of happiness are so important to celebrate when you're going through a tough time. Celebrate every small glimpse you get.
Yes. I mean, I am so amazed at your journey, what you've come through, being in the hospital for a year, losing part of your toes and part of the rest of your body, different parts of your body. I don't want to dissect that too much, but your attitude is wonderful, and everybody uh, took a page from your book and learned from you, uh, our world would be better. And so it's so important. Our health is everything, absolutely everything. Appreciate your health, appreciate your life, and make the most of every single day, every single hour, every single minute, and every
Never
single
take it
breath.
for granted again. Never take it for granted.
Yes, there you go. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dane. I appreciate you so much. And we'll see you next time at To Be Your Own Hero.